Coming up on 90 Day Fiancé Unfiltered, one of the most infamous cast members ever quits the franchise. The latest tell-all tease is a major spoiler. Plus, Elizabeth and Loren throw down on IG after their episode airs. Who's saying good riddance? I have cast updates and recaps from this week's brand new episodes of Happily Ever After and The Other Way straight ahead. Welcome back. Let's dive right in this week with a brand new game that I am going to call Clickbait, AI, or IRL. So this cast has been clickbaiting us all over the place, trying to make us think they have broken up, had babies, or dealing with other kinds of issues on social media, and we have to get to the bottom of it. So I am going to show you this photo of Jasmine and Matt. Check this out if you are listening to the podcast. This is Jasmine and Matt with their heads both shaved. Neither one have any hair. Is this photo and all the crazy pictures and videos of Jasmine and Matt with their bald heads that have been circling on social media this week, is it clickbait, AI, or IRL? Well, this one is real life. Jasmine really did shave her head. We've heard over the years about her battle with alopecia. She says she has been battling this autoimmune condition for a long time, and it means that her body's immune system actually attacks her hair follicles. She says stress and the postpartum period can make it even worse. So it's understandable why Jasmine would finally want to just get rid of it all and stop dealing with the issue. But what I'm wondering here is, why did Matt shave his head too? Well, Jasmine explained, she says, I was not expecting him to actually do this, but he wanted to show me it's just hair and that I am beautiful and loved regardless. Wow. Not only does this situation make Matt look pretty good, like he is standing by his lady, she also says, I am endlessly thankful for you, Matt. You loved me so gently, cared for Matilda so deeply, and opened your heart to my boys. What? With the kind of love only a real father can give. You're the best dad ever and the biggest blessing in our lives. Holy moly. So in addition to shaving both of their heads, Jasmine is also revealing here that Matt does have a relationship with her other two sons who are still over in Panama, and that he is apparently a great father to them too. So I guess that is the big news here, in the fact that Jasmine doesn't have her beautiful, long, flowing dark hair anymore. I'm guessing just means that she's going to start having fun with wigs, kind of old Britney Spears style. And I'm fine with that because Jasmine loves to keep us clicking around and keep us guessing. But Jasmine is not the worst offender on the clickbait or really trying to keep fans engaged with what they say online. I'm about to talk about somebody that you guys don't love very much. Don't tune out, because I think you are going to appreciate this news about Amani. Remember her from the Throuple with Annie and Matt? She was the one who was married to Matt. And you probably do have Amani at the top of your mind because she is always doing the absolute most on social media. Just a few weeks ago, she was complaining about Matt cheating on her with another woman who wasn't even Annie. And she goes live a lot, really spills her guts. Well, you will have to keep tuned into her social media if you do want to keep up with Amani, because she has quit the 90 Day franchise. Amani says, after careful thought and deep reflection, I've made the decision to step away from the 90 Day franchise. The truth is, you rarely see CEOs, visionaries, or industry leaders wrapped up in the noise of reality TV. Oh, can't you just hear her saying this? It's so condescending. She continues on, not because they don't have compelling stories to tell, but because their stories require a different kind of stage. My journey is calling me to that stage now. She also says there is a difference between sharing your story and performing it. How incredibly interesting, because I know I felt, and I think a lot of you did too, that her whole entire relationship, not only with Matt, but with Annie as well, and their storyline was a complete performance. Totally fake. Amani wants us also to know that her mission is no longer to entertain, but to empower. Wow. Well, I have to say I was mildly entertained, at least by her antics, but I think you guys are probably all celebrating that you are not going to see her on the network ever again. But do we believe this, though? If TLC came calling, would Amani answer the phone? Would we see her, Matt, Annie, and whoever else they have orbiting in their universe? It sounds actually like Matt and Annie have become quite close since the camera stopped rolling on them. But do you think that Amani would sign right back on? I am certain she would. Let's also not forget that it doesn't seem like the network is asking for them in any way, shape, or form. The fact that they haven't been on 90 Day Diaries or Pillow Talk, anything that would update us on their relationship and their lives, means that the network knows that fans aren't interested and that they aren't interested either. So this feels like a whole lot of posturing from somebody who we weren't too interested in anyway. But I am going to keep an eye on Amani and see what she's doing next. I'm wondering if all of her social media chaos was threatening her real job. She makes really good money in, I think, the tech security industry. And I'm curious what sparked this posting of this statement when, again, no one was really asking. I'm wondering if it's maybe because someone said, hey, you know what? This is too much. It's affecting your reputation and your ability to do your job. So tell everyone that you've shut it down and that you are focused on your work, girl. Maybe Amani got reprimanded from her boss, is all I'm saying. It doesn't seem like she takes criticism or direction from really anyone but herself. But this is a very strong statement here. So tell me what you all think about it. While we roll into the next piece of big news, there was another tease for the Happily Ever After tell-all that aired on Sunday night. This one is really, really good. I'm going to show it to you here. I did record it off my TV once again. It seems like TLC is really keeping the clips of this tell-all under wraps, and I think I have figured out why. Let's talk about what you see in this. I think it's less than 15 seconds. This is Andre saying, let's talk about the text messages, and then Loren screaming at him to shut up is what we see in this short clip. We can also see Jovi and Yara, who look great, dressed to the nines as per usual. And check this out. Brandon and Julia sitting on the tell-all couch with Julia looking very, very much not pregnant. There have been zero spills coming out of this tell-all filming so far. Unlike ever before, we have not heard a word about what went down or who was all even really there. So the fact that they are trying to keep this so under wraps way more than any other season, I knew something was up. Why would they show us this clip of Julia, who clearly has had her baby at this point? We can guess that the tell-all was filmed in about early October. So they're being very careful, but yet they gave us this. I don't quite understand. Maybe I'm off track here, but it's very clear to me that Julia is sitting there with her hands kind of covering her. The style of her outfit looks like something you'd wear in postpartum when you're not back to your normal yet, maybe, but she clearly is not hiding a huge baby bump. She would be very, very extremely pregnant at this point. So there is your huge spoiler from the tell-all tease. We have 2 more episodes left of Happily Ever After before that starts to air. I'm hearing it is at least 3 parts, possibly 4, and I just cannot wait. On that note, let's jump into recapping this week's episode of Happily Ever After, and I do have some receipts. What is going on with Julia and Brandon? They have been trying to keep us guessing for the last couple of weeks on social media. I showed you last week some of Julia's posts about how she's been struggling with her health and not mentioning Brandon at all. So kind of a funny sidebar here is that while there's been lots of speculation about whether their baby was born, Brandon had this hilarious post on Instagram where he said, I think this baby really looks like me. And then in the next slide, it's a picture of him holding his mother in a baby blanket. So as hilarious as that may be, if Brandon truly does have a newborn at home, which it certainly seems like he does, how does he have time for these kind of Instagram antics? I don't know. A little more importantly, Brandon wished Julia a happy birthday this week, very publicly, but all he said was, happy birthday at Julia. Not very loving sentiments for someone who probably just had your first kid, someone you are married to. Seems a little cold here, right? So is this more of them trying to bait us? Julia decided that wasn't good enough. She made her own birthday post for herself, telling herself, dear little Julia, you're doing great. You truly deserve the best. You're strong and you can do it. Not mentioning Brandon at all in her sentiments. Then there was this. Too, just a few days before her birthday, Julia still posting photos of herself pregnant and alone, talking about how she is, quote, going through pregnancy on my own. Girl, stop it. You're not even pregnant anymore. I am certain 100% that you and Brandon are still together and you are just trying to tease us, and we've had enough. Okay, I'm thinking maybe we will not even see Julia and Brandon again until the tell-all, because on this episode of the show, all they really did was pack up and leave for Europe. There was no indication of whether she's pregnant yet. There was no conflict. There was no scenes with Betty and Ron. So we just didn't get much from them. Maybe they're making us wait for the big tell-all update. We are tracking all these baby timelines, right? Because Jasmine is there too. She is pregnant AF, and Matt is pulling up on her on the street in a $150,000 tow truck that he intends to use for his new job on the side. So the interesting part of this was that we finally learned what Matt does, and it's this, guys: random things related to cars with a buddy of his. End quote. What a job. Which box do you check off on forms and stuff? Is there a random things related to cars with a buddy of mine box to check? Wasn't that his job in Michigan too? She had talked about he was a used car salesman. He talked about working with a friend. So did the friend move too? Again, this is some sloppy editing with the whole explanation of why they even had to move, and now the explanation of Matt's past. You've gotten sloppy with this season, really, TLC. And I just need them to offend my senses a little less. Come on, they know how closely we are watching. I mean, Matt doesn't even know how to be a tow truck driver. So how are we supposed to buy this? Oh, it's okay though. He has insurance, so he doesn't need to know all the ins and outs. Well, buddy, newsflash for you. When you're spending money on insurance and tow trucks, Jasmine needs every dime to hire a lawyer so that she doesn't get deported with your daughter, bro. Priorities. Also, the fact that Matt didn't think to research how to work the tow truck is concerning. Like, just pull it up on YouTube. My husband is a farmer. I know there's very expensive equipment. There's a lot to it, and you can find out for free how to fix it right online, how to use it, how to hook that thing up. It was the widget or whatever that Matt needed to know. Just Google it, bro. We have ChatGPT now. Why would you want to sit there and look stupid throughout that whole scene? How did he not know that the mother of his future child was going to be like, are you sure you know how to do this? Let me see. I did respect Jasmine for being like, there's our car, tow it right now. Show me, prove to me that you can do this. Matt slipped up a little bit too. The whole premise was that he had already bought the truck, but he says at one point, I am buying this because XYZ. He did not say, I bought this. Do we really need this fake storyline when these two have so much going on? And again, we didn't get much from Gino this week. So why all of this? I need to hear more really about Matt and the situation. And so when he said that he's worried that his mom is going to kill him about getting a married woman pregnant, my only response is, dude, you have got to grow up. Matt, please. I don't know that we've seen any growth from him so far on the show. And the fact that he keeps talking about how he's going to be in trouble with his mommy over all of this is not impressive. Meanwhile, I also noticed that Jasmine said she talks to her mom every week. And that was an explanation of how close she is to her mom. But doesn't her mother have at least one of her two kids that are in Panama? Isn't one of them living with the dad and one of them is living with her mother and her sister, who people have speculated was maybe her daughter as well? So why wouldn't she be talking to her mom a lot more than once a week if her mom has custody of one of her kids? That was a huge red flag to me. She also lied to her mother, telling her mom that Matt said he was in love with me and then I got pregnant. She hasn't revealed when exactly Matt said I love you, but I don't know that we've even really heard him say anything but I have love for you. I do love you. I'm guessing it wasn't really that long ago when he finally said, Jasmine, I love you. So don't lie to your mom. Because it seems like her mom is more upset about the lying and the fact that she's been hiding it for so long than she was about the actual situation. So if Jasmine was so scared that her mom was going to be disappointed in her, why didn't she tell her sooner and make the situation less awful, less hard to hear? I did notice a little something funny in this scene. Jasmine is holding a stuffed alligator. I don't know if it's a dog toy for Coco or if it's just a stuffed animal, but that gator is so famous from when we all first started speculating last summer that Jasmine was pregnant. And she made a joke post on Instagram where she was holding the gator in a blanket and being like, yeah, haha, I'm pregnant or whatever it was. And so the second I spotted that gator, I was like, oh, it's the gator. It's the pregnancy gator. She needs something to hold on to because Matt is not giving her much, even when they sit down and try to explain things to her mom. Her mom wants an explanation from Matt, as we all do. She didn't get a good one, as we haven't so far this season. Matt explains that how he got himself into the open marriage with Jasmine, said, it just sounded like something I could do. Whatever. Matt doesn't sound too intelligent in this conversation or mature, but that's always. I'm just really starting to wonder if he isn't just too dumb to handle this, to be quite honest with you. He also explains, well, I'm not married and I don't have any kids, so how am I supposed to know? Dude, you have got to figure it out. It's time. He says at one point, I really want to help Jasmine. Like, this is just her problem. What, help her out with this baby that she got pregnant with that she's gonna have? Like, how is he supposed to know how to help her? Like, bro, this is the wrong attitude. He is looking at this all the wrong way. It is clear that Matt does not feel that he is really in this with Jasmine, that he has as much of a responsibility, that this is as big of an issue for him as it is for her. It's almost like he's like being nice, like, no, I'll help you. And she's supposed to be like, oh, thank goodness, Matt, you're actually going to help me with this situation. You got me in with your dick. Thank you, sir. Okay, didn't think I'd say that word. Let's move on to, well, I guess that could be a segue. Elizabeth's husband is kind of a dick. But in other storylines on Happily Ever After, Elizabeth is throwing down with anybody and everybody. She is calculating, she is making moves, and she is not just doing that on the show. So you all watched, and we'll talk about what went down on the episode. But Elizabeth was showing out on Sunday night on social media. She wanted to remind us all that Happily Ever After is a TV show, people. How incredibly and in character for Elizabeth, condescending to the fans, the people who you want watching your show. She added, imagine watching a TV show and not realizing you're watching a TV show. Imagine, crying, laughing emoji. Oh, because you're so far above everybody who's watching this show and maybe believing that it's fake or believing that you really are the kind of terrible person that you look like on this episode. Plus, Elizabeth, you got to be careful with that kind of stuff, because it definitely sounds here like you are calling the show fake. And I'm guessing the network wouldn't appreciate that too much. And also, your former ex-friend Loren has something to say right back to you, girl. And this is 10 times juicier than what Elizabeth said. So as the episode was airing, Loren thought we should all head over to where she is selling her used clothes. And she advertised it with a picture of this really cute crocheted crop top that she's selling. And she said, I got this top with a special someone years ago when I thought she was one of my closest friends. Now I need it out of my life since she is too. Woo! Loren's getting a little hot under the collar. She added, everyone's true colors come out eventually, and I need this toxic reminder of her. I mean, the shirt gone. Good riddance, Loren wrote on Instagram stories. Holy moly. That is all so very, very petty. I think Loren should maybe grow up a little bit too, girl. It's not all that serious. And we also know that Loren would never, ever, ever wear that top. She talked a little bit this episode about how she's afraid to wear certain things and she's jealous of Yara's fashion bravery. Well, we know that Loren probably never wore that shirt even so much as one time. Loren isn't going to walk around even with her mommy made over body in that crop top. So you are not fooling anyone, babe. I'm just wondering how much maybe somebody paid to wear Loren's used shirt that she got when she was hanging out with Elizabeth, her ex friend. It did feel pretty gross just as a viewer watching Yara and Jovi and then Elizabeth and Andre taking their shots before they went out and talking shit about Loren when she wasn't even invited to the room to pregame. That just felt a little bit yucky to me. I think it's very telling about how those couples all kind of move with each other. When Elizabeth tells Yara that she and Yara are more calm and we're more no drama than Loren is, oh, boo. How does Elizabeth not understand how that's going to come off? You are deflecting very hard, and we can all see it. Yara responds and is like, no, I think Loren is a good friend. And I felt really good about Yara standing up for Loren. And the fact that Yara doesn't just go along with Elizabeth's pettiness and it's like, oh, okay, we're hating on Loren now. Yeah, you're totally right. No, she stood up for her friend and said, no, Loren is a good friend. It sort of seemed in this scene like Elizabeth is afraid of losing her ally, Yara, her new ally. So that's maybe why when Yara stood up for Loren, Elizabeth felt like, oh man, I really need to tank that. That could be an alliance that comes back at me. I think that is why Elizabeth then told Yara that Loren was talking behind her back, allegedly, so that she could just drive a little wedge in there. Elizabeth saying, I just hate this word. She said, bitches are fake. Yes, girl, you are. And it's not at all a surprise that you would use a word that is degrading to all women. Increase your vocab, babe. Yara has some stuff to say too. She admits that she would believe that Elizabeth was the one who was saying the terrible things about her that Elizabeth said Loren was saying. Girl, go with your instincts, Yara. You are dead set right on that one. It was really surprising to me how once they did get to the bar, Jovi really let Yara shine. He didn't care that other guys were giving her attention. She was taking shots, and he was kind of just looking at her proudly, like, yeah, that's my wife. We just don't see that from Jovi very often. That was before he got totally wasted. Andre, on the other hand, he's pulling some surprising behavior out too. In a truly jaw-dropping moment, Andre actually apologized to Loren after she apologized to him. He was like, yeah, well, actually, I am sorry too for reading and exposing the text messages, is what he was apologizing for. So wouldn't have ever expected to see that or to see Elizabeth and Loren actually hugging each other. It was like Loren in her little buzz state was overcome with emotion. And it truly made me remember that these women really did have a real friendship before this show started fake chaos, fake screwing everything up for them. And it was kind of a sweet moment until you remember that, oh, Loren, if you only knew what Elizabeth was saying about you just maybe probably an hour or two ago when she was in the room without you. The fact that Elizabeth and Loren were so close to each other for, I think they keep saying 4 years, says a lot about Loren too. Is she just as fake and calculated as Elizabeth is? Is that why they were able to get along so well and have this kind of for the TV cameras friendship that I'm guessing they were hoping did turn into their own spinoff altogether, which is clearly what their scenes were supposed to be, and it didn't work out. It feels like now Elizabeth's attitude is just, well, I guess we're not getting our spinoff altogether, so we can ditch that fake friendship. It's all gonna come to head in a confrontation though, and Jovi is the one who made it happen. He usually tries to avoid conflict, but he was really going hard for the cameras, suggesting that Yara and Loren just talk it out, and then immediately he turned around and dropped a glass. It was like, oh, he's drunk. He's not really trying to resolve conflict. He was probably trying to add to it. When Loren does start telling Yara what she did say about her, it feels like, oh, you were talking shit. Loren's like, yeah, I just meant you're the epitome of Miami. You're so Miami. And it's just what you wear is like, it's not my style. And you went, oh, she's explaining away what she said, pretty much proving that she is guilty, and then saying, I'm so jealous of you, as if she is so jealous of Yara and her body and what she wears. That was so manipulative, right? How are you supposed to be mad at someone who just said, I only said those things because I'm so jealous of you, because I think so highly of you, and I wish I could be like that? Come on, girl. That is some Elizabeth level manipulation there. And again, I can see why Loren and Elizabeth were such great friends for a while, because that was a dumb thing to say. And I couldn't tell from Yara's reaction whether that made her feel better about Loren and what she was saying or worse. But either way, Loren says she is done with Elizabeth. She will not associate with her or trust her ever again. Ooh. But we don't have to wait till the tell-all to know if Loren and Elizabeth are still friends or not, because we are clocking Instagram. Now let's go to a fashion show in New York City. So exciting. Stacey and Darcey are doing their House of 11. They are on their way there. And something that just struck me as so funny, Stacey saying that she in life wants to keep going to the top of the mountain. Respectfully, Miss Silva, what more is there for Stacey or Darcey to do? They've been on TV for many years. They had their own spinoff. They have their own fashion line, been on the cover of lots of magazines, probably hundreds of thousands of press hits and press mentions over the years. Everyone knows who they are and what show they're attached to, what their husbands' names are. Like, what more could Stacey want out of life? What is the top of the mountain if just her life already isn't the most? Georgie, on the other hand, had a real moment of levity there in the car. I really thought it was considerate of him to be like, I'm not trying to stress you out, Darcey. Let's stop this conversation and focus on the fashion show. So Georgie clearly didn't intend to mess around with her and say a whole lot of crap right before she was supposed to go do something important. And I thought that that showed that he actually cares about her. When we get to the fashion show, there was a little bit of confusion for me. We met Wilfrey, the celebrity stylist, who really seemed to be running the show, not Darcey and Stacey. They were really focused on getting themselves ready, and they weren't paying attention to the other models and how people were dressed. And I've watched a lot of reality TV, and even over on Real Housewives, everybody's got their own fashion line. And so usually the storyline is when they show something like this, that the person, it would be Darcey and Stacey in this situation, would really make it look like they made the clothes. They care about how everything looks on the models. They're in charge of the show day of and organizing everything that's going down. What was I just watching this on? Where they had a fashion show and then it was raining and they couldn't do the thing. But anyway, Darcey and Stacey just didn't seem to be tuned in and concerned like it was their own House of 11 fashion show. So I also noticed the second time I watched that there wasn't a lot of House of 11 imagery around. And so I'm thinking maybe that was a show that was Wilfrey's stylings and he was just letting Darcey and Stacey walk in the show. Maybe there were some pieces from House of 11 and the show just decided to really make it out to be Darcey and Stacey's fashion show when really they were kind of more of the fabulous celebrity models. Either way, love to see them get all dressed up while Darcey and Stacey are walking the runway looking like supermodels. Their husbands were having a conversation outside. Oh my gosh, a heavy talk, right? Guys, Georgi admitted to Florian that if Darcey knew how much money he had and makes, that then she would make him pitch in for the bills. And he just really wants his freedom with his money. We all figured that was the issue. Georgi just didn't want to have to actually pay for stuff once he got his raise. And him confirming it, him just really speaking it plainly, I was like, Georgi, do you not understand that that's bad? He really didn't seem to. Meanwhile, on the other side of this, Florian gets a little last resort therapy last year, and he totally seems to get it now. He knows happy wife, happy life. That means he gets left alone. His relationship seems pretty good in the little bit we've seen between him and Stacey on Happily Ever After. And then we did get that moment where Florian tells Stacey that he is proud of her after the fashion show. He's smiling, she's smiling. It seemed like an actual sweet and genuine moment. Versus then on the other hand, when Darcey had to basically beg Georgi to say that he was proud of her, she asked him and then he confirmed, yeah, sure. So laissez-faire, this Georgi, even when Darcey and he finally do sit down at the hotel and have it out in conversation. What stood out to me was that Darcey immediately went to, Georgi, you're getting older. You need to have a plan. It felt like she had just worked hard and saw her work come to fruition at the big fashion show. It was a big success. And now she's kind of triggered like, bro, what are you doing? I'm guessing her next thought was going to be, where's the money going? Right? If only she knew that he was still hiding money too. Sounds to me like going back to Bulgaria really messed Georgi up in the head. And that's understandable too. He hadn't seen his family in so long, and he keeps talking about realizing how much he had missed out of his family's life and how much they had missed him. I'm guessing that makes you feel guilty. Of course, it would make him want to return there and spend more time with them, probably time that was a little more quality, being off camera. So it's really understandable, but he is not doing a good job of expressing himself. Georgi also needs to realize that if he would include his wife in wanting to spend more time in Bulgaria, that would probably make it happen sooner and better, and that they could really build a relationship with his family again together. What does Georgi not understand about that? He's talking about how he missed all that just for this? Like what, for the show? For a fake marriage? What did he mean by that? He said he's wasting his time. But again, if you would build together, I think Georgi and Darcey really could have it all. But he doesn't think so. He storms out. And then this is the big moment I felt of the whole episode. Georgi then reveals just to the cameras, to producers, that there is something that he needs to tell Darcey. Something that sounds pretty major that he is hiding from her. And I have no idea what that could be. Usually, we make a lot of assumptions here. We speculate quite a bit, and usually I'd have some kind of idea, some inkling of news that was on social media or a rumor or some gossip, but I just can't imagine what it would be that Georgi needs to tell her. He wouldn't be putting it that way if he had just decided he wants a divorce and was going to tell her that. It feels like we would know if he got someone else pregnant or cheated on her. So what could it be? Please help me speculate. I cannot wait a whole nother week to find out. So put it in your comments below. You guys all have your finger on the pulse too, and I bet we can figure it out together. What are we going to see next week on Happily Ever After? Finally, Julia and Brandon are going to take Europe. I wasn't sure if we would see them again until the tell-all, but we are going to be shown an actual happy relationship between the two of them. They're going to look like a real couple just on a real trip in Europe. And I am really excited to see what their dynamic is when they are not pretending to be in a fight and when they don't have Ron and Betty there to cause chaos. Yara, Jovi, Elizabeth, and Andre are going to go Sasquatch hunting. That looked pretty ridiculous. And then Elizabeth will be gushing over her new friend, i.e. her new ally, Yara, just really trying to keep that new friendship strong so that they can band together against Loren. We have your MO now, Elizabeth. Meanwhile, Darcey will cry to Stacy, and then there's another conversation teased between Darcey and Georgi that kind of sounds the same as the ones we've already seen. Is there any resolution? Perhaps I'm starting to think that producers knew that with these two, Darcey and Georgi, you really just have to wait till the tell-all. Like you have to wait until you can give people the most recent update and only put the latest out there because it seems like it is constantly changing. Their relationship is always in flux. Matt's going to finally become a daddy. Next week, Jasmine will have her baby. She's in a tub. She is screaming. Matt is freaking out. He looks terrified. I usually don't enjoy We're Having a Baby episodes of any kind of a show, but I'm thinking that one is going to be pretty dramatic. And we really just have to get any clue we can from Matt about how he is going to handle this. One more thing, Gino will finally see again. It's been a couple weeks. He will learn that he is the perceived father and that he legally has a financial obligation for this child, and he is shocked, just dumbfounded, which was my reaction to him not knowing that. How do these people not know that that's a thing? Have they never watched another trashy reality show besides their own? We have just seen that storyline play out so many times, and it wasn't news to me or probably any of you either. How is he going to handle it, though? We will find out. Now let's jump into what happened on the other way this week. Are they going to start every episode now with that shot of Pattiya stripping, spreading her legs on stage? No shade to her at all. It's just that TLC is going to keep cramming that clip down our throats in the first second of the show, probably every week from now on, to catch people's attention. We learned this week that it's Dylan's mother who has been the problem in their relationship. As always, we've heard this one before. Pattiya also explains that she never wanted to move to Tasmania before. And when she talks about this move, she referred to it as going there, not moving there, staying, living there for the rest of her life. I'm starting to be a little suspicious. I was really thinking this story, their history of having been together starting 12 years ago, like this was going to be really genuine and authentic. But I am not sure that Pattiya has any intention of actually staying in Tasmania. And we have seen a million times on the other way, it just being a little visit that they make into something more. And I'm just hoping that Pattiya and Dylan's, all their issues and all the interesting things about their relationship will carry us past that. One of the issues they might have is Pattiya's spending. We hear that when they lived in Vegas, she had her fancy car and the clothes and the whole thing. She even said on this episode, like, oh, I bought a whole new summer wardrobe, but now it's fall. Too bad. Guess we got to go shopping. It's okay, Pattiya. You know she makes that money. Being the only 58-year-old probably stripper left in Dallas, Texas, she is making her money and she knows how she wants to spend it. Well, Dylan, on the other hand, he wants a simpler life, but I just think that just might not be for Pattiya. She may not fit in there. I'm starting to be concerned. I'm not concerned though about their actual relationship. The couple's reunion at the airport always tells us so much about them. And this one was very genuine. They were clearly super familiar with each other. You think, in contrast to the scene when Matthew and Greta saw each other again in the UK and they barely touched each other and it was so awkward. Here, Dylan and Pattiya are really showing us that they missed each other and that she's giving him these doggy kisses. So clearly, they are very comfortable with one another. Those kisses where she's licking his face, I found to be disgusting. But he said he wasn't complaining. Really, their relationship seems really fun and silly and cute. And I think we're going to enjoy watching that so I can get past a little slobber, I guess, because I'm really curious to get to know Pattiya and Dylan better. We know Madelein pretty well because she wears her heart and her emotions and everything else on her sleeve. But this week, it really felt like she was performing, didn't it? It felt like she had to keep her anger going, almost like she wasn't that mad about the stripper thing after a few hours, like she had cooled down. But because the cameras were there, she had to rip up the flowers when she got back to her apartment and throw them in the street and do all the telenovela things for the cameras. She does have to get a little fence there on her balcony for her little fur baby. Looked like he could fit right through there and jump off. That would have been a big fall. So just get a fence, Madelein, please, for your fur baby. Luke is so annoyed, and I found it annoying that Luke was annoyed at the woman on the street who was like, "Oh, are those flowers for me?" And he gets in the car and sighs and rolls his eyes like, "Ugh, I just can't go anywhere without women fawning all over me. Whoa. Dude, you got to get over yourself. If you had so many options, then why are you marrying a dysfunctional child?" I have to wonder. When they're talking out the situation and he's telling her finally what really happened. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. When he is lying to her about how much interaction he and the stripper actually had, how much they were touching each other, how he did not mention that she was grinding on him, etc. But that whole conversation seemed moot anyway, because when Madelein sees the video, no matter what he tells her, she's going to freak out again. She's really going to be mad, and she's not going to have to be fake and keep it going when she sees that video. So why are they even bothering to talk it out? I don't know. Imagine the theatrics that will go down when she finally sees that video. And I wonder if it probably just wasn't until the episode aired a couple weeks ago. We do know that they actually got married because the pictures are out there. But what is going on in the last week or two? I am noticing that they have both been quiet on social media, and Madelein has not been expressing herself or explaining anything that went down on the show. She does say at the end of the scene that she wants peace. And I believed her in that moment. Maybe that is true, that she wants peace, but it's clear also that she does not know how to have peace. And it's also clear that neither one of them, Madelein or Luke, truly think that their relationship is over. When she's saying we're not getting married, when she's saying it's over, I don't believe her. He clearly doesn't believe her either. It's like they just have to go through all the motions of having the fight. And I think they would probably do that if the cameras weren't there either. It just is extra ramped up because they are. I'm still rooting for Madelein to grow up and reign through life as the beauty queen that she is. We are getting our cultural education from this season of The Other Way, which I really appreciate, mostly from Jenny and Sumit. This week we learned about poop yoga, which I had assumed were just certain yoga poses to get the intestines stimulated or whatever. Oh, I was so wrong, you guys. Poop yoga is just a saltwater flush. If you grew up in what I call the scary skinny era, this was very popular. It's part of the master cleanse. That's what Beyonce did to lose the 15 pounds or whatever to do Showgirls 100 years ago. So there was so much talk about it. She admitted it. And Beyonce herself talked about doing these saltwater flushes where you literally just drink hot salt water and then all that water comes out of the anus, I guess. That would make anything poop anything. Drinking salt water and then doing yoga makes it poop yoga. But like if you did that and did Pilates, it'd be poop Pilates. You could drink salt water and then just sit on the couch. You'd be poop sitting. Like now we know. And I guess we are better off for it. Sana was really right that this could help Jenny feel better and feel more energetic, of course. But if Sana is really truly concerned, she should probably put it a little different way. Remember when Jenny had such a hard time getting up out of the bed a few weeks ago? And she really honestly does look different than she used to. And not just talking about her weight, but overall, it clearly seems like she's lacking energy. And I would imagine that yoga could probably do her a lot of good and that Sana would know how to help her with that. So let's not say she's getting fat. Let's be like, I want you to feel good. Let's talk about strength and mobility and joint health, bone health, that kind of stuff. Might be a little more effective because Jenny is not in on this whole saltwater flush thing either. And I looked this up. She is right. There is a black salt that they use a lot in India that is very sulfuric. So yes, it would smell like that and therefore taste like that a little bit. And I'm guessing it probably was pretty hard for Jenny to choke down that black salt water. She probably also didn't drink too much of it. So at the end, when she's like, oh, my tummy feels weird, it's like, that was probably just for producers. But the funniest part of all of this was when she's like, I don't need help. I can poop just fine on my own. And Sumit was like, you're a liar, essentially calling Jenny a poop liar. So that is the last time I will say that word. And we can move on to Chloe and Johnny. Big development here because Johnny is no longer sharing his location with Chloe now that she is in Aruba too. That's huge. Wasn't sure if we were ever going to get there. And Chloe does really seem to want to trust Johnny, but she still doesn't. Her friend Cariana isn't really helping either. She's a beautiful girl, but it sounds to me like Cariana's man is pretty sus too. They are probably just talking to one another, and Chloe and Cariana are making each other paranoid about what their men are doing because both of their boyfriends work in the tourism industry. It sounds more to me like Chloe and Cariana are more afraid of looking stupid than of actually getting cheated on. And I suppose especially now that they're going to be on TV and the whole world's going to watch the relationship play out, Chloe seems really more concerned about how is this going to look for her than really how heartbroken is she going to be if he does go hook up with one of the chicks he's flipping off the boat, which I don't think will happen. But it's pretty clear to me from their social media from before the show even started airing that they probably aren't together anymore. We will stay tuned and have to see about that. We saw Manon and Anthony again this week. Also, I'm really liking Manon, especially because she really tells us what's going on in her life. She is an open book. And she kind of went off on Instagram stories as the pillow talk for The Other Way was airing. So she had some words for Tiffany and Ashley and Tim and some of the comments they were making. This is very interesting. Manon thanked Tiffany and Ashley for their support. So we love to see that girl power there between the women cast members. Manon shouted them out and said, yeah, I want to stay with my kid alone, but how am I going to buy a house, pay my bills, sustain a lifestyle I want to have for me and my family? Manon goes on to say, I am just scared AF and need to be making money to feel safe, feel secure, and feel I'll be able to have the life I want. She felt supported by Tiffany and Ashley and what they said on Pillow Talk. But to Tim, Manon had a little bit different message. She said, yep, I wear the pants. Who cares about gender roles? If it works better for us that I'm the provider and he's the primary caregiver for Ben, well, it's our own preference. So Manon made it clear that Tim needs to understand what goes on in her house. When we get into their scene on the show, it was really great to see that Anthony does seem to be trying to learn French. So often the partner does not do it, even when they end up in the same country. And yeah, he maybe should have been working on this for the last 4 years, but he is clearly trying. Good news for Manon too. She and Ben are bonding more than ever. We saw a really sweet moment between her and her son here on the show. So that seems to be going great. It's so cute to see Manon being a mom, and it makes her super likable. She has been very polarizing to the fans of the show this season. And so I think anything that's going to kind of humanize her a little bit, or when we're going to see her being a great mom, that's going to make people understand her a little bit better. We also understand that she is a hustler, man. She's already working on a new business because a friend there in France convinced her that she can have it all there. That really baffled me. I've worked on some shows where we've had high profile interviewees, very successful women, moms, and they always, of course, get asked, can you have it all? How do you juggle your family and your work? And they almost always say, you can't have it all. You really can't. Women in America cannot have it all, balancing family, work, success, money, marriage, and everything. I'm curious for our France viewers or anybody else internationally, is it possible, do you feel, for women to have it all wherever you live? And my Americans too. I just think that's such a weighty concept, especially because women are usually the more higher profile parent in America than the dad. So I just want to hear all of your thoughts on that. Also, tell me what you think. Would you buy Manon's new beauty line that she's developing? She says it'll focus on aromatherapy and fragrance and use natural ingredients from France. She talks about going to visit the lavender farms there, which France is really known for. So that's nothing new. There's lots of aromatherapy beauty lines and a lot of lavender infused products out there. But whenever a celebrity, someone who has the exposure of television, pitches something and is trying to influence fans to buy it, it always goes over like gangbusters. Manon is really smart to know that she should have a product line to offer fans now that she is getting so much traction to her social media, so many followers, so many eyes on her. And I am really curious to see if that'll be what she sticks with. There hasn't been anything on her social about any new beauty line, but she is making moves. I am sure of that. Will we see it happen next week? I don't know. Let's get into the preview for the new episode. Ben will get baptized over there in France, and then Manon's family drives her to pound what looks like a mojito or two or more at brunch there with the family, and that doesn't seem to go over well. Could be some major comedy in that scene because, again, Manon is just open. She's just out there. So what is she like with a couple drinks in her, or what is she going to say to her mom and dad and the rest of her family? We will see. We are also going to meet Dylan's mom, and she immediately, it looks like, starts giving Pattiya crap about her overspending in the past, basically being overbearing, and I'm kind of already annoyed with the mom. I'm already team Pattiya just from the preview clip. But we got to give her a chance, see how it plays out. Greta and Matthew, we didn't see this week, but next week they will go apartment hunting while he makes plans for children, possibly even twins. And then Greta reveals to the cameras that she's not even sure if she wants to have kids, but that she hasn't told Matthew this yet. I'm wondering now if Greta is just as bad as him. Like how he didn't bother to really get ready for her to be there, and he thinks he did so much to prepare, but he didn't really, and he's already complaining about having to support her and that she wants massages when it's not even an issue yet. Maybe she is just as bad keeping secrets and such. Their relationship does not seem that solid to me. What do you guys think? And capping things off, we will see Johnny and Chloe sit down with her friend Cariana and her boyfriend, who is friends with Johnny. And again, they both work in tourism. So this guy has some thoughts about the way that Chloe is behaving in the relationship. And she's going to demand respect from Johnny. She says, respect what I say. So I guess they're going back to giving us very unlikable Chloe. This scene this week was kind of cute with her like hiding and giving him a little leeway that he doesn't have to share his location anymore. But it looks like we are going to be looking at annoying Chloe again very, very soon. Let's talk about 90 Day Diaries because I know you all want to know. I want to know. So it was not on this last week or the week before. Now, I did a little digging, and the show was scheduled to air on TLC on the 10th of October. So that was not this last week, but the week before. And then it wasn't. There's definitely something going on here because if they usually post that on a Monday, they were ready to air the episode on Friday. And then it didn't happen, still didn't happen the next week. And TLC has not posted the schedule of their new episodes for this week yet. It is Tuesday. Clearly, something is up in the air. Something is going on. I'm going to lay this down. It is pure speculation, but I'm thinking the next episode was supposed to feature that storyline where Thais tells her friends that Patrick, her husband, thinks that she is cheating on him if they don't have sex every day. It sounded bad. Fans were already calling it emotional manipulation, sexual abuse, etc. And I'm wondering if between, Madelein throwing cakes last week, all the violent rhetoric that Tiger Lily and Adnan have been spewing the last couple of weeks, and there being so much attention on that, I'm wondering if TLC decided that they are going to recut that episode to make the Thais and Patrick situation seem not so bad, which it probably wasn't anyway. We have never seen controlling. Yes, he's been insecure, but we haven't seen Patrick be controlling, and we certainly haven't seen Thais be submissive in any way. So this really seemed to come out of left field, and I would believe that it was maybe an exaggeration or a one-time thing or something that gets explained away in the episode, but perhaps TLC wanted to make sure that they didn't make Patrick look too bad, especially when Patrick and Thais are popular on Pillow Talk. His brother John is all over the show and is going to be on Diaries as well. So they really seem to be lately doing a disservice to their talent to really over dramatize these situations that can be labeled as abusive. And I'm just wondering if perhaps they are re-editing that episode and maybe we will get it maybe this week. It doesn't sound that way. I feel like they would tell us if it was going to air this week, they'd know by now. Maybe next week we will be getting a tamer version of that storyline, along with Natalie getting her nose job is what else it was supposed to be, and Kobe and Emily arguing over parenting. So again, that is pure speculation because TLC won't answer any of my emails. It is just the downside of doing this for yourself and not for, Entertainment Weekly, but that's fine because we usually get to the bottom of it anyway. And you guys know, on that note, I'm going to close up here that if you watch 90 Day Fiancé Unfiltered on YouTube, that's where you get all the receipts, where you can see the pictures and videos of Matt and Jasmine shaving their heads. You can play along, whether it is clickbait, AI, or IRL, along right with us if you watch the show. But you can also listen anywhere you get your podcasts. These drop on Tuesday evenings. And if you follow at 90 Day Fiancé Pod on Instagram, you will always know when the latest episodes go out. You can see all the receipts there and interact with me. Let me know what you think about the show. I think I'm going to start asking for people to send in videos talking about their opinion, reacting to that week's episode of the show. So you know what? I'm going to extend the invite right here. If y'all want to send me through Instagram DM at 90 Day Fiancé Pod, or you can email Christy at Christy Reports and send me videos of your thoughts on the 90 Day franchise. Whatever you've got going on this week, let me know and I will play them on the show. Plus, I do tons of deep dives on my YouTube channel. I just posted a video that features every single 90 Day Fiancé cast update from the year of 2025. Everything is there. There is so much drama, so much chaos, so much juicy stuff that you did not see on camera. That is just the absolute latest. You have got to go over there and check it out. The comments are going off crazy. So please check that out and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so you know every time the latest breaking news on this crazy cast hits. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for your kind comments and thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week. Take care.